we like that, of course. But just like full disclosure, when it's, hey guys, we're cutting $2 trillion over 10 years, right? It's like, oh, well, hold on, right? We get excited. Oh, you're cutting $2 trillion, awesome, well, over 10 years. Oh, well, that's $200 billion. Like we're not even close. What do you say to that?
Well, I agree with you. You know, it's $2 trillion in spending cuts over 10 years, so that's on average about $200 billion a year. Although it is front-loaded a little bit. All right, so I think we're probably going to see between 3 and 4 in the first and second years, and then it kind of tails off a little bit. But and that was done intentionally because Congress is famous for promising something over 10 years, and we'll do spending up front and we get the savings, with year 8, 9, and 10, which never happens.
So why not the $2 trillion this year? Because we talked to Birchie the other day. When he started 7 years ago, the budget was $4.6 trillion, and now it's 7.
Right.
Well, let's just cut $2.4 trillion and go back to what it was. Wow, 7 years ago. Who's the hurdle here? And if you say the moderate Republicans in the
Diogenes,
I saw the poll by now. It's like 83% of people, but it's like 78% of Democrats, or 73% of Democrats, and 78% of even independents say we got to cut spending, or balance the budget by cutting spending. So even the Democrats are on board with this, like the regular Democrat people. Who's not on board with this? That's stopping us from doing it.
Well, last night there wasn't a solitary Democrat that was on board with us, even for a small cut. Every solitary Democrat voted against it. I would love to see a balanced budget, and I would honestly love to see a balanced budget to our Constitution. Many states have it. My home state of Georgia has it. Legislation would never be allowed to come to the House floor if it didn't have an offset and wasn't fully paid for. That's the way our state government in Georgia works, and that's the way the federal government should work. So that is something that we have been working on, and even Speaker McCarthy, when in the speaker fight 2 years ago, that was one of the requirements, is that we have a balanced budget amendment come to the House floor and get a vote, at least get a vote, and that never happened, and so, we know that McCarthy was replaced. But this particular bill instructs multiple committees to cut spending. There's a number of them. Ways and Means is going to be doing the tax cut part of it, but Energy and Commerce is primarily focused on the mandatory spending, and it's the mandatory spending side of the federal government that has been increasing so radically. I'll give you one example, is Medicaid. Medicaid has increased 51%.
State Trooper, what the fuck are you doing here?
That is an astronomical increase, and there's a number of reasons for that. But that needs to be, and the amount of fraud that we're seeing
seem to be going way over 25 too.
Is incredible. Just what DOGE has found in Social Security, where you have $2 billion a week going to people without Social Security numbers. That's $104 billion a year. How is that even allowed to happen? But yet we have people that need that blinders on. They just keep spending and spending and approving spending, and that has to stop. So, this budget resolution doesn't include anything that Elon Musk has found. None of the fraud, waste, and abuse that Elon Musk has found is even categorized in this framework. That's all over and above it.
When does that get taken care of? Or is that just executive?
That's just executive. That is just executive right now. So this $2 trillion over 10 years, $200 billion a year. Yeah, it's not as much as many of us wanted. All right, but it's what was able to get 217 votes now. It was what was able to get 217 votes. Elon says he thinks he can cut $1 trillion a year. That's in 1 year out of the executive side, and that's massive. And once we do that, then we reshuffle the cards and see where we are, right? And then, we have another opportunity to do another resolution to cut more spending. So we can actually do it. We can do at least 2. We can be able to do 3 budget resolutions in this particular 2-year term.
Okay, let's talk about process for a second. So last night was a budget resolution. What vote is today?
Well, yesterday was the framework. Okay.
What's next?
What's next is actually the committees now have to go. Each committee has a target of spending either savings or tax cuts, like education and workforce, $330 billion. Agriculture, reduce the deficit by 230. Oversight and reform, $50 billion. Transportation and infrastructure, reduce the deficit by at least $10 billion. And energy and commerce, reduce the deficit by at least $880 billion. All of that adds up to at least $1.5 trillion. But if we're going to get the $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, we're going to end up having to have at least $2 trillion in spending cuts, and the difference will be made up in economic growth.
Okay, so when are they done with their cuts? And when's the next official vote to make it official?
That I think will probably be, well, you'll have different committee votes. That's number one. Okay, and that will happen in various times. But then you'll have probably the first or second week of April, after we get 2 Republicans back in, the one that replaced Matt Gaetz and Mike Waltz. Then once we get those 2 Republicans back on board, we'll have a little bit more leeway. And I think we'll be able to then pass the budget resolution probably mid-April, or early to mid-April.
Okay, is this different than reconciliation?
No.
That's what this is.
That's what I meant. I meant the budget reconciliation.
Got it. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. And that's what only needs 50 votes in the Senate.
That's 51. That's correct. Right. Now, but our budget resolution has to go over to the Senate now, where I can get approved in the Senate, and that's actually going to be the next vote.
Is there a problem? Does it only need 50 there, and are there any hiccups on that side?
It only needs 51 on the Senate side. It bypasses the filibuster. So I can't actually speak for the Senate. President Trump has been one bill or the 2-bill plan. I'll take either. I'm simply focused on getting the job done.
That's right.
And that's, I think, what the American people should be focused on too. Whether it's a 1-bill strategy or 2-bill strategy, whatever gets it done the fastest, I think is what needs to happen.
Except for the shady spots, yeah. Just about. It's going to be 50 again today, but then down in the 30s all after that. It's going to dip back down.
Can be accomplished in 1 bill, and that's the bill we passed last night in the House. And that's the resolution that sets the framework. Then the reconciliation then is the actual one, the bill that needs the hard cuts.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. We only have about 2 minutes, and we have another guest coming up next. I'll save another budget question for then. But something that you're an expert on is these judges, these federal judges that are temporarily blocking a lot of what Trump's doing. So you're pursuing some impeachment against one of the judges, and then I just heard yesterday there's another judge who said that Trump can't stop the freezing of the grants for like USAID and stuff. What's up with these judges, and what authority do you have over them?
Well, Congress has the authority to impeach judges, and that's a beautiful thing because that's about the only thing that we can do to hold these judges accountable. And therefore, Congress must act to do that. These judges do not have the authority. They are exceeding their authority, and they're doing it in such a way that damages the American people, that seriously hurts what President Trump is trying to do. He has limited time to do it. He has a 4-year term to do it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Albie.
Honestly, really, it's just the first 2 years because we don't know what's going to happen in the beginning.
Not sure his name.
We don't want to see what happens.
It's satellite radio. Patriot.
We can't have that. So we have this 18 months.
He'll announce it in the quarter hour, a couple of minutes. It's satellite radio, but they still have commercials.
By blocking what he's trying to do every solitary day.
It's like everything else is supposed to be supposed to be commercial free. Eventually gets commercials.
And that is the president to accomplish these directives. And when these judicial activist judges issue restraining orders, temporary or permanent, against legitimate executive action, then they're totally wrong. They have shown that they cannot be even-handed in their decisions, and therefore must be removed from the bench. And this is a process by which we do that.
Well, I get satellite. Well, it's not really. It's free, but it's not really free. It's part of my OnStar.
The House needs to vote on it. The impeachment is basically bringing them up on charges. And that's the way.
But yeah, I got YouTube Premium too. Rumble Premium.
In the judicial branch. At that point, then it passes the House, and then it goes over to the Senate for a trial, just like what you saw in the impeachment. And so all these judges then will go to trial, right? And their evil deeds will be exposed.
Wow, very interesting. All right, very good. Congressman Andrew Clyde, Northeast section of Georgia. Good to talk to you, Congressman. Thank you.
Great stuff.
Take a break. We'll come back to Texas for a second, and I'll play a clip of Thomas Massie. He's the one Republican who voted against the bill. Play a clip of him and why. So he was right. I'm excited. Right, ready to tell you about the word.
The will count majority. Coming up right after the David Webb Show, we're heavy on Tennessee. Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs in studio. Then we'll talk to Representative Andy Ogles about Trump's executive order. The will count majority coming up next at noon East after the David Webb Show on SiriusXM Patriot.
The news is in. Donald Trump's second administration declares this as the dawn of a new American golden age. And major financial companies like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are very bullish on gold. After a phenomenal 2024, gold is up 35% from 1 year ago. The numbers don't lie. So how do you get started with precious metals like gold and silver? Call the experts at Epic Gold for a free info kit at 800-598-9938 or visit epicgold.com. That's EPIQgold.com. With Epic Gold, you can now invest in a self-directed IRA that includes gold and silver. It's tax-deductible and penalty-free. Get a free info kit and automatically be registered to win a 3 gold coin set valued at over $5,000. No purchase necessary. To learn more, go to epicgold.com. That's EPIQgold.com. Or call 800-598-9938. epicgold.com. EPIQgold.com.
Let's not forget car insurance. It just keeps creeping up. But here's the thing. InsurePod makes one part of life easy. It's an insurance comparison site that finds real-time quotes from dozens of top insurers. Insurance companies compete for your business, driving prices down. It's like having a friend who knows all the best deals, but without
Yeah, right. Never heard of those.
save as much as
Every fucking conservative station out there.
Might even cut your bill in half. The best part,
Streamer.
it's all online. No phone calls, no spam, no nonsense. You could be covered in as little as 10 minutes. And with an excellent star rating and Trustpilot, saving feels less impossible. So why not give it a shot? Visit insurify.com and see how much you can save. That's INSURIFY.com. Average potential savings based on...
I don't think it's empty, but I don't think there's as much there as there should be.
Actual savings may vary depending on state residents, individual circumstances, coverage selection, and insurance requirements.
You notice they announced they were going to go check it out, but there's no date scheduled. I see them rapidly getting gold back inside there. Right. I don't think Google Earth shows that stuff. That's not live. I think that's only updated like once every couple of years. But it wouldn't surprise me. Oh yeah, it's a good rumor. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me.
$295 billion to the deficit the year after that.
Mike Webb is this guy's name.
$242 billion to the deficit after that, under the rosiest assumptions. Why would I vote for that? Free.
I don't know what to think, Congressman. Who's right?
Well,
first of all, this was a first tiny step, but we got the process started. And this supports the Trump agenda is the first point that I will make, because we got the border funding, and most of the nation voted for Donald Trump to secure the border. So that was the most important thing. Now, this is a tiny first step, because this bill was 7 times more cuts than the original Republican suggested bill. So we've made progress toward the conservative end
Where this fucking Jeep thinks he's
spending,
going.
savings, and the tax cuts, which everybody knew we had to extend the tax cuts. We just needed to. That would have been a $1.4 or $1.6 trillion increase in taxes if we had let those tax cuts expire in the TCJA from 2017. So Thomas is not wrong. There will
Morning,
be
Brandon.
short-term pain here, but this is a tiny first step. And the next step is we'll get it over to the Senate. Well, actually, our committees will start finding those savings that they will now be instructed to find based on this budget resolution. All this was a budget resolution. Now we have to do the work to find the savings. So, yes, this is a tiny first step, and I've always emphasized that, but we've got to get started cutting down on the deficit and the debt. So, yes, there is some short-term pain, but you've got to let things kick in. So, I will say Thomas is a friend. I talk to him very often. He and I are a lot alike in our thinking about debt and deficit. But we had to pass this to get the process started, and we certainly needed to cut off the Senate version because it would have been worse.
Now, you're on the Veterans Affairs Committee, so you're going to be one of the committees
I am.
and one of the agencies that the left people are going to freak out. Oh, you can't cut veterans anything ever. How are you going to find cuts?
You can't. Shouldn't.
Well, the Veterans Administration doesn't have a big chunk of this to find. Frankly, this is not part of the Veterans Affairs. Will not be a big part of this. So I will tell you that Secretary Collins has already started that. He's already found almost $100 million by cutting the probationary employees that had been in their job either less than 1 year or less than 2 years. He's already found $100 million to plow back into the health care for our veterans. And let me be very clear. Everyone is absolutely clear on this. No current beneficiary will be hurt, and no health care will be cut under VA, because this is the canard that the liberals always throw out. You're going to start cutting veterans' benefits because veterans are such a huge constituency across America. Look, I was in the U.S. Army for 25 years. I understand it. I understand that our veterans have earned their health care. So any cuts, and Secretary Collins has already started it. But the Veterans Affairs, back to your question, does not have
So he's a lifelong
of what we're talking about here. So
civil servant,
don't let that be,
I guess is a nice way of putting it.
From the left.
I want to ask you about your...
I don't even know which congressman this is.
But this is about SNAP, so food stamps. And your bill would what? No sodas allowed to be bought by if you have food stamps?
Yeah, that was a Bass Pro Shop. We got the Bass Pro Shop there, and then we have a Cabela's up in Dundee, which is about 40 minutes away. So they're owned by the same company now. One of my good buddies works there. His retirement job is at Bass Pro Shop in the gun shop.
One, we subsidize people.
So discounts.
Sugary drinks.
There's another piggy.
We're subsidizing obesity,
Another state trooper.
and heart disease. And then on the other end, with Medicaid, then we have to subsidize health care for the very thing that we have subsidized through SNAP. So this makes no sense. Government subsidizes your diabetes, your hypertension.
Yeah, they are. That one in Dundee, if you want to check it out, they one of the biggest breast
If you look at SNAP, it is the nutrition
statues. I think it's the biggest one in the Midwest. A couple bears going at it. It's a beautiful statue. But their dioramas on the inside with the waterfalls and everything, those are cool.
I
I'd say Cabela's is a lot nicer.
love that. And I know that someone.
This one's
is a
closer,
good thing
so.
to have. People say, "Oh, you're taking away people's freedom." It's like, well, you lost some freedom when you went on welfare, and you're free to buy sodas. You're not banning soda. You're just banning people on welfare on soda. I think that makes sense. When are you going to vote on this bill? And I ask you this bigger question: is when is Congress going to vote on any bill? Like, when are things? I don't mean that rude thing. Like, when are things going to start getting passed? Right? We see executive branch every day. Bing, bing, boom. When are you guys going to start moving on some bills?
You're asking me when we're going to codify some of these executive orders?
Or anything. Even your bill, I mean.
Well, we vote on bills every single day we're in session. Mostly they're suspension bills these days because we're focused on the budget timeline here, because all we did yesterday was we got the budget resolution. So we have also a CR. We run out of money on March the 14th. So we're also focused on that. We need to figure that out. And then we've got the regular
Shut it down
process, because that CR only finishes up FY25.
Another biggie.
7 months, 5 or 6 months into FY25 now. We've got to finish up FY25 by March 14th. Then we've got the budget process for FY26. And frankly, we are supposed to have those 12 appropriations bills for FY26, which starts in October, done by the end of June. So then we can get it to the Senate. So we've got a very tight timeline here for budgetary. And as people have been saying, this is the Super Bowl year for taxes and budget, because we've got to get this right. If we're going to continue this move toward cutting government spending, the blowout fiscal spending that we've seen over the last 6 or 7 years.
If not now, I don't see it ever happening. So we got to keep moving.
Absolutely.
Congressman Keith, Self-Representative King. Good to talk to you, Congressman. Appreciate it.
Self.
Have a great day. Listen, we got a resolution. I think the big story is the 30 moderates who were able to get on board. And if we just keep moving in that direction, and Trump's more got them on board. And people are like, oh, win for Johnson. You know, I guess. But really, Trump was able to get everyone across the finish line. So go bigger. Go bigger.
Snipers.
Go in bigger.
You gave yourself away, Diogenes.
I said it right by News Dallas, spread the word.
Gave yourself away.
Hiring is a lonely business.
I had it just by the way you were chatting, I figured out who it was.
Interviews with qualified applicants being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work?
Great
right
philosopher,
now,
though.
with just one connection. That's Express.
I even thought it last night.
Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment.
I won't dox you though.
Well, you heard it here first. Resolutions are so last season. What's in? I'll tell you what. Reclaiming your health with Armor.
We'll see if anyone else figures it out.
Armor colostrum is a 300-million-year-old superfood, packing 400 plus nutrients and more benefits than I can mention in this 60-second ad. Stronger immunity, eased bloating and constipation, revitalized skin and hair, stronger recovery and performance, and elevated mood and focus are just a few results clients see and feel. With Armor, transform your health at the cellular level and unlock the you of your wildest imagination. Visit armor.com and enter code XMRadio for 50%
Is that Linus?
off your
I
subscription
can't tell the
order.
avatar.
This
It's
one,
too small on my
That's
phone.
ARMRA.com. Code XMRadio for 15% off your first subscription order.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Buddhist.
Donate online at carsforkids.com. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction. 1-877 cars for kids. Donate your car today.
Personal responsibility. The rule of law. Sirius XM Patriot.
Channel 125.
Conservative principles live here.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rex Thomas. A federal budget blueprint important to the Trump agenda advances in the House. Capitol Hill.
The ayes are 217, the nays are 215.
Majority voting in the affirmative, the current resolution is adopted.
Republicans muscled their budget blueprint to passage.
We got it done.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We have a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we are going to deliver the American First agenda. We're going to deliver all of it, not just parts of it. And this is the first step in that process.
President Trump made calls to push reluctant Republicans to sign on to what he's called a big, beautiful bill. And Thomas, Washington.
President Trump says his Ukrainian counterpart may soon visit the White House amid word of an agreement on the U.S.
This guy in front of me is not happy.
The wealth of Ukraine's rare earth minerals.
I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly it's okay with me, would like to, and he would like to sign it together with me, and I understand that's a big deal, a very big deal.
Mr. Trump
Nah, I'm not feeling all that great. I think I'm just gonna have coffee.
helping Ukraine defend itself against the Russian.
I got a banana cream pie I picked up last night that I didn't eat.
Asking a federal judge to toss out the corruption case against him.
Miss Doc is not feeling good either. She's not going until about noon today. If then, we'll see. I brought her some medicine home last night.
The Federal Aviation Administration says
Yeah, it's just a little buggy bug. I'll be alright. Hopefully.
Doing a go around to
You know me,
too close to
always pushing it to the limit.
departing from the same runway. That
Dude.
yesterday involving an American Airlines
Serious?
flight from Boston.
You're gonna throw your arms up and then fucking sit there with nobody coming?
Chicago's Midway Airport was forced to climb back into the sky to avoid a small business aircraft that was crossing the runway. No injuries in either case. Both planes did manage to
Yeah, I know.
without further
That's
incident.
where she works mainly, man. She sees so many freaking clients and stuff like that. It just goes, and then with the staff there too, it just goes round and round. We need to open some fucking windows. I opened windows in the house yesterday. I opened some this morning too. It's going to get up to 51, so dogs will be fine. Yeah, that influenza A is really knocking people down too. I don't know what this guy's doing, but that's fine. Should probably close them. Oh, the dogs will be cold. 51 is not cold for dogs, especially when they have fucking blankets and pillows and everything else. But is what it is. See you guys in a bit. I'll probably get live. I got a bunch of shit I gotta do today, but yeah. All right, guys. Later. Love you.